The banging started at 6 in the morning. Not a knock. A fist against wood. Official and relentless. The kind that makes your heart drop before you're even awake. I stumbled to the door in my robe. Coffee not even started. And there he stood. Deputy Sheriff Marcus Chen, clipboard in hand, body camera blinking red, apologetic eyes that told me everything before his mouth opened. Ms. Rebecca Harding, I have an eviction order effective immediately. You have 2 hours to vacate the premises. The paper he handed me was still warm from his cruiser's printer. Cook County Circuit Court. Case filed by David and Margaret Harding versus Rebecca Ann Harding. My parents. My own parents had filed for my eviction without a single word, without a phone call, without even a text message asking me to leave. I stared at their signatures, notarized 3 weeks ago, while I'd been calling them every Sunday like clockwork. There must be a mistake, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. This is my house. I bought this house. The deputy shifted his weight, uncomfortable. Ma'am, the deed shows David Harding as primary owner. The filing claims you're a tenant who's refused to vacate after notice. I'm sorry, but I have to enforce this order. 2 hours. I called them immediately. Mom answered on the 4th ring, her voice bright and chipper, like she was discussing weekend plans. Oh, sweetie, you're up early. Mom, there's a sheriff at my door with an eviction notice. What the hell is going on? Silence. Then, your father will call you back. And the line went dead. 20 minutes later, Dad's number lit up my screen. His voice was steel. Rebecca, you need to understand something. That house was always ours. We put the down payment. We co-signed the mortgage. You living there was a courtesy we extended. And frankly, we're done extending courtesies to an ungrateful daughter who can't even visit her parents properly. Visit you? I call you every week. I came for Thanksgiving. I sent you that check for $5,000 when your furnace broke. Money, he spat. Always throwing money at problems, instead of showing up like a real daughter. Your brother Kyle needs that house now. He's getting married, Rebecca. He has a future. You're 37, unmarried, no children, wasting your life on that ridiculous career. It's time you learned to stand on your own feet anyway. Dad, I paid the mortgage every month for 6 years. My name is on the deed too. As a secondary. Read the fine print. The lawyer assured us this was completely legal. You have until 8 a.m., and then the sheriff will remove you forcibly if necessary. Don't make this uglier than it needs to be. The line died. I stood in my living room, the room I'd painted sage green myself, where I'd installed the crown molding over 3 weekends, where I'd hosted Christmas dinner for them just 2 months ago, and felt something crack open inside my chest. The deputy was in his cruiser, giving me privacy, but I could see him checking his watch. I had an hour and 40 minutes. I called my brother. Kyle answered laughing, clearly mid-conversation with someone else. Oh, hey, Becca. Yeah, Mom told me. Listen, no hard feelings, okay? Jenna and I really need this space, and you've had it long enough. It's actually perfect timing because her parents are helping with the wedding costs, so we can't really afford our own place right now. Kyle, I paid for this house. 6 years of mortgage payments. I renovated the kitchen. I replaced the roof after that storm. Yeah, but it was always technically Mom and Dad's investment property, right? They were just letting you live there. Come on, don't be dramatic. You make good money at that finance job. You'll find another place. That finance job is the Senior Vice President of Strategic Acquisitions at Thornhill Capital Group. I make $400,000 a year, Kyle. I gave Mom and Dad that down payment money as a gift. I've been paying them rent on top of the mortgage without them even asking, because I wanted to help them retire comfortably. Then you can definitely afford another place. Look, Jenna's calling. I gotta go. We'll have you over for dinner once we're settled in, okay? He hung up. I stood there with my phone in my hand, watching the deputy sheriff drink coffee from a thermos, and made a decision. I called my office. Janet, my assistant, answered immediately. Rebecca, aren't you supposed to be at the Clearwater merger meeting this morning? Reschedule it. I need the legal team. All of them. In conference room A in 2 hours. And Janet, call Richard Thornhill personally. Tell him it's urgent family business that affects the firm. Are you okay? I will be. Also, I need you to pull every financial document I've sent you for filing over the past 6 years. Every receipt, every bank transfer, every check I've written to my parents. Everything. On it. Rebecca, whatever's happening, we've got your back. I packed methodically. Not everything. Just what mattered. My documents, my laptop, my grandmother's jewelry they hadn't known about, the photos I actually wanted. The deputy helped me load boxes into my car, professionally silent but kind. At 7:58, I took one last look at the house I'd loved, locked the door, and handed the deputy the keys. For what it's worth, ma'am, he said quietly, I've done a lot of these evictions. This one doesn't sit right. Your parents didn't even change the locks in advance like most landlords do. They just wanted you out fast. They got what they wanted, I said, and drove away. By 10 a.m., I was in conference room A with 6 lawyers, my CFO, and Richard Thornhill himself, the 72-year-old founder who'd personally recruited me from Goldman Sachs 8 years ago. I'd laid out everything. The deed, the eviction order, 6 years of bank statements showing my mortgage payments, receipts for renovations, documentation of the $53,000 in gifts I'd given my parents over the years. Richard studied the documents through his reading glasses, his mouth a thin line. Marcus Webb, our chief legal counsel, was already making notes. Rebecca, this is fairly straightforward. You have an equity claim on the property based on your financial contributions. We can file a suit and freeze the transfer. No, I said. I don't want the house. Everyone looked up. Richard raised an eyebrow. No? I want them to have it. I want them to have exactly what they asked for. But I also want something else. I pulled out my phone and showed them the banking app. This is my parents' account at First National. I have access because 3 years ago, when they were having financial trouble, they added me as a joint account holder so I could help manage their bills. I've been depositing money monthly. There's currently $218,000 in that account. Marcus leaned forward. Rebecca, if you're a joint account holder with full rights, legally that money is as much yours as theirs. I know. I want it transferred to my personal account. All of it. Today. Richard smiled slowly, the predatory expression that made investment bankers nervous in boardrooms. And I want you to have your real estate contact reach out to them about selling the house. I happen to know they're planning to move to Arizona once Kyle's wedding is over. That house is worth $490,000 in the current market. I want them to list it, get offers, get excited about their retirement plans. And then, right before closing, I want the buyer to discover that there's a lien on the property for exactly $218,000 filed by me for unpaid loans. A lien they can't sell without clearing, Marcus said, understanding dawning, which means they'd have to pay you back before they could access any sale proceeds. And given the mortgage balance and typical closing costs, Richard added, pulling up a calculator, that would leave them with approximately $70,000 profit. Far less than they're expecting. Exactly. They wanted me standing on my own feet. They wanted the house for Kyle. They'll have all of that. But they'll also have the consequences of treating their daughter like a tenant they could discard. Jennifer Park, our junior attorney, looked troubled. Rebecca, I have to ask, is this about revenge or justice? It's about education, I said flatly. I've spent 6 years trying to have a relationship with parents who see me as an ATM and a disappointment because I chose a career over their vision of grandchildren and Sunday dinners. I've financially supported them while they mocked my choices. I've been kind while they've been cruel. The house is gone. I can buy another one by next week. But they need to understand that actions have consequences, and using the legal system to ambush your own daughter comes with a price tag. Richard stood up. Marcus, file the paperwork today. Rebecca, take the rest of the week off. You'll stay at the corporate apartment in Millennium Park until you find a new place. And when this is done, we're discussing your compensation package. Anyone who maintains this level of strategic thinking while being evicted by their own parents deserves a raise. The lawyers moved fast. By noon, the $218,000 was in my personal account. By 2 p.m., the intent to file a lien was registered. By 4 p.m., I was in the corporate apartment, ordering furniture online, when my phone started ringing. Mom first. I let it go to voicemail. Rebecca, honey, there's been some kind of banking error. All our money is gone. Can you check your end? Maybe it transferred accidentally? Her voice was confused, worried, not yet panicked. Dad called 6 times in a row. I answered the 7th. What the hell did you do? I removed my money from a joint account, I said calmly. Money that I deposited. Money that was legally mine to withdraw. That was our retirement fund. No, Dad. That was my gift fund that I deposited monthly because I love you and wanted you to be comfortable. The same gifts you accepted while filing eviction paperwork behind my back. You can't just steal our money. I didn't steal anything. Ask your lawyer, the one who assured you the eviction was completely legal. Ask him if a joint account holder has the right to withdraw funds. I think you'll find they do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a property to shop for. Goodbye. I blocked their numbers. Kyle called from Jenna's phone an hour later, panicked. Becca, Mom's crying. She says you took all their money. What's going on? I moved my money out of their account, the same way they moved me out of my house. Fair is fair, Kyle. Enjoy your new place. But they need that money. They were going to help with the wedding. They had $218,000 that I gave them over 3 years. If they'd asked nicely, I might have helped with your wedding. Instead, they had a sheriff knock on my door at 6 a.m. You reap what you sow, little brother. You're being vindictive. I'm being exactly as kind as they were. How does that feel? He hung up on me. I ordered Thai food and watched the sunset over Lake Michigan from my temporary living room, feeling lighter than I had in years. 3 weeks later, Marcus called me at the office. They've listed the house. $485,000. Already has 2 offers. Good. File the lien tomorrow. Rebecca, you know this will destroy their sale? They'll still sell. They'll just make a lot less than they expected. Actions. Consequences. File it. The lien hit public records on a Thursday. My mother called from a neighbor's phone, hysterical. What have you done? The buyers are backing out. They saw the lien. Rebecca, please, we need this sale. You needed me too, Mom. You had a daughter who loved you, who financially supported you, who called every week and visited on holidays despite living 40 minutes away in traffic. You chose to evict her with a sheriff instead of having a conversation like adults. Now you have a house you can't easily sell and a retirement fund you'll have to rebuild. I suggest you start with the $53,000 I can document giving you over the past 6 years. Consider it a very expensive lesson in family dynamics. But Kyle's wedding is in 2 months. We promised Jenna's parents we'd contribute. Then I guess Kyle and Jenna will have a smaller wedding. Or maybe Kyle can use his own money. Radical idea, I know. Goodbye, Mom. The house eventually sold 6 weeks later for $460,000, $15,000, under asking because buyers don't like liens and legal complications. After the lien, the remaining mortgage and closing costs, my parents netted $42,000. Kyle's wedding got postponed. Jenna left him 3 weeks before the rescheduled date, deciding she didn't want to marry into a family with this much drama. My parents had to move to a small rental in Arizona instead of the retirement condo they'd picked out. I bought a 3-bedroom townhouse in Lincoln Park for $650,000, all cash. Promoted to executive vice president 4 months later. Richard Thornhill personally wrote my recommendation letter when I was offered a board seat at a major pharmaceutical company. My phone stays blocked to this day. Sometimes I wonder if they understand yet, if they've connected the dots between the eviction they filed and the comfortable retirement they lost. If they realize that the daughter they treated as disposable was the only thing standing between them and financial mediocrity. But mostly, I don't think about them at all. I think about the deputy sheriff who helped me carry boxes, about Janet who mobilized the legal team without questions, about Richard who said, anyone who maintains this level of strategic thinking while being evicted by their own parents deserves a raise. I think about the fact that I spent years trying to earn love from people who only saw dollar signs and disappointment. And I think about how much lighter life feels when you stop carrying people who've proven they'll drop you the moment it's convenient. The eviction order is framed on my office wall now, not as a wound, but as a reminder. Some people will show you exactly who they are if you let them. And sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is believe them the first time and act accordingly. My parents taught me to stand on my own feet. They just didn't expect I'd walk away while doing it.